Hi guys. Today we're going to be working on writing. Specifically, I want to work on answering this type of question. What is a central theme in the video Destiny? Support your answer with evidence from the text. And the reason I want to work on theme is because I see people having a really hard time answering these questions. We'll get into exactly why in a moment. But just as always, we are going to be using the RADD strategy for answering this, which is RADD. R, restate the question. A, answer the question. D, provide details from the text to support your answer. And always explain it. And then D again. So we want to have two details to prove our answer. All right, so let's use what we have here and use our RADD system to go ahead and start answering this. First of all, we have our question stem, which is a central theme in the video Destiny. Remember, one thing that we're trying to work on is including the question stem and the answer in the same sentence, okay? So I'll start there. Let me make this red because it is restate, and also tab because I'm starting a paragraph. Central theme in the video Destiny is, all right, so now I'm going to go back to what we did the other day because I actually already have a theme for this video. Let's see. Here it is. I made these two theme statements the day before yesterday. So I'm just going to take this exactly, this theme. It is more important to stop and appreciate the little things than to always be on time. And I'm going to include that in my answer. All right, well, it's the wrong color, so I'm going to make it blue. Does it make sense? Let's just make sure this makes sense together. Essential, and it annoys me when the font isn't all the same. All right. A central theme in the video Destiny is no, I don't like that. So I'm going to say is that, yeah, is that it is more important to stop and appreciate the little things than to always be on time. Perfect. Restate and answer right there. Next step is details. Details are purple. So let's think. When we're answering theme, the way that the reason kids have a hard time picking evidence to prove it is because they don't know where to get the evidence. Like the theme is a message from the entire text. How can you prove that? Like, where do you get the info? So one thing I want you to think about is oftentimes theme shows or is shown by how a character changes. We look at how the character was at the beginning of the story and then at the end, and we try to see if any changes that happened in the character are actually lessons that we could learn about life. And that happens very often. Now, sometimes there are hidden messages, sometimes there are changes that the character should have made but didn't that we notice as the reader, but very often we look at things like that. We also look at the conflict and how it was solved, right? So there was this problem at the beginning, and at the end it's resolved in some way. And however that conflict is resolved, there's probably a lesson that we can learn from that. So let's say a character changed and you got a theme there. You want to give me some information about how the character was at first and how the character was at the end. Let's say it's about a conflict. You want to give me some details from before the conflict happened or why the conflict happened and how it was resolved. Those are the details that are going to prove that this is the theme. Okay? All right. So a central theme in the video, stop and appreciate the little things. All right, so this guy was super obsessed with time at the beginning. So much so that at the beginning of the story, And this is the thing that struck me the most. He waited to leave the house until he saw the exact right time on his clock, and then 4 steps out the door, he's looking at his watch again. So I'm going to use that as my detail because that really stood out to me as showing and highlighting how he was at the beginning. He refused to leave his home before the exact right time. And then after he left, he was still checking the clock. 4 steps out the door. 4 steps later. All right. So this is, again, more than one sentence because there is no reason why any of these parts of the RADD strategy have to be exactly one sentence. All right, now we need a detail. I'm going to go with a dark green so that we can read it. No, not a detail, an explanation. So why does this part matter? Let's see. Okay, it matters because he was so obsessed with the clocks that he ended up dying at the end. His obsession caused him to die at the end because he was paying attention to time instead of looking where he was going. All right, I'll say watching the road. All right. I don't know what happened there. All right, he was paying attention to the time instead of watching the road. All right, so now we need another detail. Now this detail is going to come from the end when he changed. And I think that the part that it shows that is basically he stopped time and saw that beautiful, like the sky and the clouds parting and the sunbeams coming down, and it was just beautiful. He appreciated that moment, and then he shut the watch. Right, that's how he ended the video. All right. The last version of the man threw, or I guess broke a clock and stopped time. When he did, he saw a gorgeous, the gorgeous sky. And knew he needed to shut the watch. All right, so why does this matter? We have to have our green detail. We always have to explain it. And the reason that this matters is it wasn't until this shows that paying attention to beauty in the world, well, actually, this is, first we need to say this is how the man was able to survive. He finally stopped paying attention to the clock and hopefully only after seeing the beauty in the world. Okay, so I changed what I was trying to say there a couple of times, but I got to it at the end. So let's just read through our paragraph and make sure that it makes sense and that it actually proves the answer to our question. So a central theme in the video Destiny is that it is more important to stop and appreciate the little things than to always be on time. This man was overly obsessed with time. He refused to leave his home before the exact right time, and then after he left, he was still checking the clock 4 steps later. His obsession caused him to die at the end because he was paying attention to the time instead of watching the road. The last version of the man broke a clock and time stopped. When he did that, he saw the gorgeous sky and knew he needed to shut the watch. This is how the man was finally able to survive. He stopped paying attention to the clock only after seeing the beauty in the world. Okay, this makes sense. It definitely answers the question. I want to change some things a little bit because I noticed when I was reading that the word time appears a lot. So I'm going to try and change this where I can because I don't want to use this word repeatedly in this same paragraph. And this is just one way that I like to revise my writing. He's beyond time. He's obsessed with, I could say he's obsessed with clocks. All right. He refused to leave his home before the exact right second. Let's see. His obsession caused him to die at the end because he was paying attention to the clock. Well, I already used clock. Maybe I could. He was paying attention to the pocket watch. Actually, it was broken, wasn't it? Broken watch. Instead of watching the road. The last version of the man broke a clock and stopped time. I don't think I'm going to change. I think that that one has to stay the same. So now I've only used time twice in this paragraph, and I think that it's a lot better. All right, that's it, guys. I hope that this was helpful for you. Please use this video and my example to help yourself answer the question that I've provided for you to work on today. Thanks.